you. So, just to start off, can you briefly introduce yourself? Give us a background of who you are, your career in STEM, how you got here.
Okay, so thank you so much. I don't know what should I call you.
My name is Lily. I'm so sorry.
Lily.
Yes, Lily.
Okay, so thank you so much, Lily. My name is Oluwapelumi Egunjobi. I am a recent civil engineering graduate from the University of Ibadan. I got recognized as the best graduating engineering student of my 2020 class. I'm currently interested in like the intersection of building, energy, and well-being. Currently like researching in that particular space and seeing how much engineers in like the research space can contribute to global well-being and environmental well-being. I'm also interested in like breaching the equity gap in in STEM as it might be. Encouraging more women to pursue careers in engineering, technology, mathematics, and also supporting African students with the right knowledge needed for career and entrepreneurship growth. So I value equity, I value independence of thought, I value people, having dreams, having passions, and following through with those passions. Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
wonderful. That's amazing to hear. Engineering, sustainability, it's not something that I would have thought maybe a few years ago because with all the changes in the world that are happening, it's like everything is possible now in these different fields, right?
Yeah,
So that's wonderful to hear. And congratulations on your recent graduation.
yeah, thank you.
Hope was it from your undergraduate degree or was it a graduate program?
I was an undergraduate.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So, how did you find civil engineering as an undergraduate? How was the experience and, just seeing what civil engineering was all about?
Okay. So I didn't quite have like the full knowledge of civil engineering before I even like put it on my jam form to go to school in the university. But I knew as the time I was in secondary school that I was going to do engineering. I just had more love or affinity towards like more technical things, towards the other parts, as people might say, like towards mathematics. And I was just passionate about telling to the whole world how much my sheets of calculations can, produce tangible results. So that was like my motivation going into engineering as it might be. So, I entered into like the university and first talk, and I think it was already expected. There were not as many females as males in the class. And at that point, I think we were like three females in a class of 45, in a class of 45 like civil engineering students. So initially I believe it was very challenging, especially like for everybody generally. It was much more challenging for me and like for people like me, female gender as it might be. Um but I think as I said, it was challenging for everybody. So knowing that the challenges you're also facing is not unique to you and it's not unique because of your gender per se would like drive you to do much more. Also knowing that this is reasons why you are doing this, and just holding on to that reason as you move forward in like that particular space. So yeah, it was like year in year out challenges over challenges. I can really remember like my 200 level was like the hardest level. I would still say it tomorrow. 200 level was the hardest level in engineering for me. Like there was also a lot of new things now where we're using our computers for a lot of new things, things that were not we never heard about that when we were in secondary school, and we just moved into that like abruptly, right? But I believe it was very interesting. You get to learn a whole lot about how things really work. And that was my passion, my the reasons for me like going into that kind of field initially, like learning how things really work, how how calculations and some abstract things we did in secondary school can be attributed to real life scenarios, real life situations, how you can walk through, you can talk through some of your calculations and we see tangible result of that. So that was what made it like quite interesting. And in fact that as I grew like 300, 400 level, you started to be more exposed to some other diverse areas. Sometimes we what the thoughts we have towards like a particular course is not exactly what it is, when you reach a particular level, you get to be exposed to more intricate details of like the career path that you have chosen. You get to be exposed to much more other sections of like that space that you can also like focus in away from what the whole world thinks it is. So yeah, that was a lot of learning as it might be, and a lot of like seeing how much changes can be made with like your knowledge that you have. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, it's nice. And I'll be honest with you, growing up, I thought civil engineering was more about, the engineering for how to build houses, build bridges, and things like that. So, what exactly is civil engineering about?
Okay, so I think to like the general layman and like what you just said, civil engineering is about buildings, right? Building bridges, constructions, houses, and what might be. But as I said, when I work really entered into like that space, I realized that there's a whole lot like involved. So we have engineers, we have civil engineers specialized in water resources and in the water aspect. So in the water aspect, we have different divisions. We have people that are specializing in resilience. So in some other parts of the world where they are afflicted with natural disasters that affect building the built environment as it might be. So some engineers focus on how to make buildings more resilient against that type of attacks. So against earthquake attacks, against flooding attacks, against hurricane attacks. So that's one side. And people in like water resources, water wastewater management. Some other people too also work like the water energy nexus, how water resources can also like be used to provide equitable energy services. Another space. Then some people work in materials. So we understand how the built environment consists of materials, right? So for building, for bridges, for what have you, materials are involved. So some people like specialize in like material science to understand like what can be combined with what and what to maybe the focus is on environmental sustainability, reduction of carbon emission, or maybe on how, as I said, resilience, which material will be used to make this building more resilient to attacks, to like natural disaster attacks. That's another side. And some people specialize in transportation. So the transportation system, we understand like road networks, bridges, railways. Some people also specialize in understanding how, easy flow of traffic. It might sound funny, but some people do. Easy flow of traffic and how much like some of the systems on those highways and roads can properly work together to ensure flow, traffic flow and what have you. So that's another aspect. And a number of other people, some who work in geotechnical, so they go deep into the earth and see how much, what can be implemented underground that will support what is on top. We're talking about the built environment as it might be. So everything on the built environment, the connections are connected. Why some people even go further into understanding how much the building as it might be supports well-being. So how much we understand that people, at least I think some studies, Americans spend about like 87% of their time indoors. So how much that indoor time spend and how much like architectural choices, affect well-being, affect your proximity, your stress level, affect how you perceive work, affect how your productivity level and like how it might be. So there are just a number of spaces, but like for the basic level, I think in civil engineering is about construction, right? About building bridges and like the built environment as it might be connections, work with other stakeholders in the built environment for for use for people use. Thank you.
Hey, that's wow. That's much more than I thought civil
Yes,
engineering.
yes,
A lot of time when you hear civil engineering, it's like, okay, they're just thinking about how you can build the house or how you can build the bridge. Oh wow, civil engineering looks like it's a very broad field.
yeah, it is. It is. It is. I think you can even pivot to energy science, energy efficiency in buildings, from buildings to other aspects of built environment.
Huh. So what sparked your interest in the sustainability aspect of this?
Okay. I think I would start with the fact, like what you said, when the world or everybody, like to the layman, they feel like engineering or civil engineering was just about building houses and bridges. And at some point, it felt a little boring to me because I felt if this is all that is involved, like it just didn't sound as interesting as it might be. Because number one, I'm really interested in impact. One of my key watchwords when I was growing up was like, I'm interested in redesigning my society and all of that. So I was really interested in seeing impact with whatever that I do, including like my career path. So one of it was like understanding that okay, yes, I am studying civil engineering, but how can I contribute to like the global impact, to like localized and global impact through what I'm studying. And I got to be exposed to like the sustainability aspects of building designs, right? Got to understand like I'm as away from away from how do I say it, away from the regular structural design, structural analysis, and stuff like that. Yeah, key important details too that civil engineers need to also pay attention to in their construction and in their designing phase, as it might also be. So that was what led me to like evaluating sustainability. So I first went into water. So where we talk about water treatment, wastewater management, and how much like water recycling, water energy nexus, and how this particular tool can also be used to better people's lives, can also like create like an a environment that is sustainable, as it might also be. So it drove me through that aspect to like understand more intricate details about buildings. It drove me to understanding like materials and how I think there's a statistics about how much like building material waste contributes to the environment. Understanding how much we as civil engineers can also look into that aspect and cause like a global ripple effect onto like the world. Yes, I understand that in a bid to perform our major duty of structural design and structural analysis, we also need to impute ideas about sustainability, energy efficiency into it. And as I said, it goes in line with water, it goes in line with materials, it also goes in line with architectural choices, although that is more for like the architect. It also goes in line with that part. So it just made me, open my mind to a lot of like opportunities in that space to also like impact. I thought about well-being at some point. So that's also like another space where we can, as civil engineers, even after performing or when performing my in quotes boring part of the job, can also can also design spaces that are sustainable, can also design spaces that impact our lives directly. Yeah. Thank you.
That's wonderful, honestly. I never thought that well-being is something that is also considered
Yeah.
when um building buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think so. I was reading something like before this interview and how much our perception of like how much productive we can get based on how our office, let's just say office, how the office is designed. So studies have shown that more affinity to natural lighting, natural ventilation reduces stress and like increases productivity. So this is like an inference or a recommendation for designers so that we don't design spaces and not just put walls all over the place and everybody feels trapped. There's a feeling of being trapped in your space, whereas you need a feeling of being free. There's also like biophilic designs, introducing natural environment into like the living space to like just improve the flow of energy, as it might be full of like non-seen energy in that category. But it's really interesting, to be honest. Yeah.
it sounds really interesting. And what are some of the goals that you hope to achieve in the nearest future in civil engineering and also with sustainability?
Okay. So for me, I'm looking forward to like being a researcher. So one of my major goals is so I want to research like a broad space, but within like the same intersection between building, energy, environment, and well-being, right? So I want to see high performance building designs and how much architectural choices, as it might be building choices, can contribute to like the energy efficiency drive. So we know that building operations. When I say building operations, I mean, the materials involved, buildings, like the process of building, um, the process of living in the building, and all of that as it might be contributes to about like 37% of the global energy use. And there is like a global drive to reduce that to the barest minimum. So I'm looking at researching in that space and seeing how much that building energy use can be reduced to like to the barest minimum. As it might also be to also understand how low and middle income countries like Nigeria and some other countries in Africa and in Asia can also can also be more energy efficient in their building services. We understand that as urbanization grows um in these areas, there is a need for more focused attention on building designs in that space to also like improve energy efficiency while concurrently promoting human well-being. So in the next few years, I see myself maybe getting a PhD in that space, and actively researching building energy efficiency solutions for sub-Saharan Africa.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful goal because I
Yeah.
feel like more people need to be educated on this because a lot of people might just think, especially with like office spaces, for example, they might just think that you're there to work, you don't need natural light, you don't need any of this. Like they're just there to focus on whatever it is that's the task in front of them without thinking that okay, there's more to
They
this. Just,
optimize.
yeah, than just sitting down and looking at the screen or paper or whatever it is that is in front of you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And would you say that you had a mentor or a role model who has inspired you in this journey? And can you just say something about them?
About it.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I've had like a very funny like mentorship mentee and story to tell. Even though I understand like how important it is to have mentors, I believe I seek mentorship as it might be from parallel mentorship from my friends. So I might not be able to like see exactly who they are or who they are not, but I've been able to seek mentorship or grow by seeing my friends do so well in their choosing careers. Might not necessarily be doing the same things, um, but in whatever they decided to do, I see the efforts that they put into what they are doing, and I just replicate that type of efforts into my own personal life. I understand how very difficult it is to get mentors in spaces like that. I don't know if that's the what's happening now, but like that was my challenge at some point in my life. I just didn't like really find somebody that could actually hold my hands through like the entire thing. But I just sought how will I say it? I sought mentorship or strength, or should I say, I like it, encouragement from like friends, similar friends doing amazing things in their careers, and I just like walk through with that. So I believe I don't know, maybe through this program I can get a mentor. I don't mind. I don't mind as it might be, but I can encourage other people that might also be like me, like finding hard to get like a mentor. To also like just look by their side, see people that are doing so well beside you, your friends, your classmates, and gain necessary, like ask questions from them. Don't be too shy to tell them that this is where I have a problem. Listen, also be more discerning to know which advice to take and which one to throw away. Gain like because knowledge is just not based on age or based on position, right? So know who you can reach out to for help. So that was what I did. I asked enough questions, I gained enough knowledge from people that were just my mates, and it has like really helped me through like this journey.
It's been wonderful hearing your story.
Yes.
I, um, lastly, I would just ask, do you have any advice or encouragement for young females just coming up? Maybe they are looking into sustainable ways to improve well-being, and not just well-being, but also maybe they're looking to go into engineering or math or tech. Do you have any encouragement for young females coming up?
Okay, so for young females coming up, I would just use myself as an example. I think from secondary school, I've had like challenges. Like people just feel like you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing this. They feel like, oh, you are smart and you should excel in this and not this, right? So I think you need to first understand that not everybody will support you. So when you understand that not everybody will support you, and for like the first early stages of your career, you might be alone, you'll be able to like rely on like encouragement from your own self, right? So knowing that you might not always like have the support that you think you need, but holding on to your whys will make you, do better and stand out in your career. Also, um, using like my university journey to also judge, support is very very needed, right? And support from everybody. I talked about being your friends, parallel support, parallel mentorship as it might be. So support is really needed in your career journey. Find people that you share similar goals with. um Make friends, be acquainted and learn together, grow together in that particular space. And also, one thing is hold on to your goals, like hold on to your dreams, what keeps you at wake at night, or what may wakes you up at night, like that major thing that you want to live your life for. Hold on to that, and with every passing challenge, as it might be, go back to the drawing board and restart all over again with that same focus and that same dream. Because in anybody's journey, whether you are a female or a male, you face challenges, as it might also be. And it might even cause a lot of setbacks to you. You might not gain all those opportunities you applied for, right? But I want you to just go back to the drawing board, take on that vision, that dream that you have in mind before, and let it let it be re-energize you as you take up like new strides. This may also be, and it's very possible. One thing I want to tell other young people is that it's very very possible. I never thought I could graduate as the best engineering student. Like it was not a dream. I didn't even have it in my mind when I entered school. I just had it in my mind to do well with every course, with every test, with every exam. Do well because you know where you want to be, right? So it's very very possible to be the best. You get very intimidated. I was at some point because I was like, I was coming from an underserved background, in quotes, from Akure, Nigeria. It's not that they had one very. I went to a girls only school, so you should know that they don't even have so much focus on like the technical engineering part too. We didn't we didn't do so much in that regard. As in my I went to a public school, so we had issues with syllabus and like meeting up with like the curriculum, the wide curriculum. So 90% of, let me just say, 70% of what I needed for my final exams in secondary school was by myself. I had to study by myself to be able to get to where I am. So you might not always do the best, as it might also be, but when you put in the effort that is required, you would like stand out. And also, one more thing, knowing the amount of effort you need to put into things is really, really important. You might think you're doing your best, but it's not also your best, because when you compare it to where you're coming from, you're not doing enough. I had the opportunity to, follow a couple of students to like a competition. That moment changed a lot of things about my perspective. To a competition, we were representing on those states at one particular competition, and those students were from really good schools, one of the best schools in Ondo State. And when we interacted, I realized that their level of knowledge were like far different from where I was coming from. And I didn't even take it as an insult or something. I knew I had to do much more than them. So during the events, the quiz, and we stayed the campus together, and all the other ladies and the girls and students were just resting. And I was like, no, I can't be like you. I know where I'm coming from, so I need to put much more effort. So you need to know how much effort you need to also put when you evaluate your background to be able to like receive like the level of success that you require. So knowing also that personalizing your journey as it might be will also like help you. One last thing. Also knowing exactly what you want. I think many people get so confused, people in technical fields, because they don't really know exactly what they want. So it is really important that from the start, it might be hard, but try to know what you want to do with your engineering degree, your background, as it might also be. Don't just go because it's cute. You want to be like a female engineer and all of that. Know exactly what you want to use that career to do and work towards that goal. It helps you and helps the world, as it might also be. Right. So it's important, like know exactly where you're going to, because when challenges will come, what will keep you up or what will make you stand up is that your final goal. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, wow. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
that. I learned a lot as well. Thank you. Your story really encouraged me too.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
congratulations on your best graduating student. I know I said congratulations before, but that was for your graduation. But now for being the best graduating student, congratulations too.
Thank you.